Hello there, everyone. I'm sure you've noticed that the background looks very different. I am pet sitting Phoenix's mother's dogs while she's off at a wedding right now, so I'm at her house. This window is really crazy, but it's the best light source in the house, so I'm very sorry about the fact that the lighting will continuously change in this video. I hope you can ignore it. Today, I'm going to be talking about Kat Von D. I've been a fan of Kat Von D as an artist and as a makeup brand for a very, very long time, pretty much since she started and I first became aware of her. I think no matter what you think of her as a person, you have to admit that her artistry is top-notch and her makeup is wonderful. In fact, for a long time, Kat Von D brand makeup was the only brand I would buy, at least out of the higher end brands. And it was because the quality was absolutely perfect. I mean, I couldn't for the life of me find anything better than her makeup. I was particularly a fan of her Lock-It foundation and concealer because they were full coverage without being cakey and nasty, and they didn't separate too much throughout the day, which I loved, and her shade range was impeccable. I mean, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum to most people who have a shade range problem. I am so incredibly white that I can rarely find a foundation and a concealer that match me perfectly, and hers actually did, which made me very happy. I'm actually not wearing any face makeup at all today, no foundation or concealer of any kind. You can see how blindingly white I am and how that could be a problem. I will admit I have yet to try her fetish palettes, but I have heard a lot of negative reviews on them, and that's actually what prompted me to make this video. I'm wondering whether the quality of the products is actually poor compared to her other products, or whether it's people's opinions of her getting in the way. And that brought me to the idea of, should people boycott Kat Von D's makeup brand? I know a lot of people already have for a while, and I'm sure more people are considering it. And I was wondering if I myself should be boycotting Kat Von D's makeup brand. It honestly takes quite a lot for me to completely give up on a makeup brand. It takes a lot more than just one scandal because, let's face it, once a makeup brand reaches a point in their lifetime that they are world famous and people in just about every country know and love the brand, they're going to get into controversy. There's really no way around it. When you have millions upon millions of people using your products, things are just going to go wrong. Either there's going to be some issues with some of your palette or your lipsticks or something in terms of quality because you have to hurry up and get millions out at a time, and, things can get pressed improperly, and just, regular human and machine error can happen. Or not everybody who buys your makeup is going to agree with a certain way that you prefer to live your life, or with certain ingredients that you use in your products. It's just going to happen. And for the most part, I just ignore that to the best of my ability. And as far as scandals go, when a brand's president or, CEO, whatever you want to call them, comes into a scandal, I do two things. First, I try to really look at it from both perspectives, the perspective of the consumer and the perspective of the person who is involved in the scandal, and I try to decide whether or not that scandal is really worth writing home about. Like, is this just one of those things where maybe they said something kind of stupid on their Instagram or something, or on their YouTube page, and they didn't realize how it came off, they apologized, it's over, but people are just dragging them endlessly? Or was it really something that's a big deal that people should be upset about and that wasn't apologized for? And the other thing that I look for in a scandal is whether or not it seems to be in that brand or that CEO's character. Now, what I mean is, most of us, if we really, really love a certain makeup brand and it is world famous, we at least have some working knowledge of what the president of that company is like. And if it's somebody that's always coming to controversy, always doing things that are kind of questionable, it's not really shocking then, and I just have to kind of weigh out what's more important, the moral dilemma here, or how much I like their products and the fact that there isn't a whole lot out there that covers all the bases for me. I mean, I prefer things to be cruelty-free. I prefer to have them be long-lasting, especially if I'm paying a pretty penny for them. I prefer to have them be a little bit darker and geared more towards, people of a darker lifestyle. I mean, there's just certain things, and especially the cruelty-free issue, that it's hard to tick the box of. So I have to really weigh all the pros and cons and decide whether or not those controversies are worth completely getting rid of the brand in my makeup collection. And if it's somebody who doesn't typically come into controversy, at least not of like the scale of their current one, that they're usually kind of quiet, they don't really use the company's Instagram for, personal gain or anything, so to speak, and suddenly they do something that's just wild for them, something that you've never seen them do before, I tend to think, okay, let's wait a week. Let's see if they realize they've come under fire for this, and let's see whether or not they apologize for hurting their fans. Because if it's completely out of character for a brand or a president of a brand to do something extremely controversial, then my first thought is something is probably going wrong in their life. Typically, if we are very hurt by something or someone in our lives, we lash out. And that is why I tend to tell people, if you're very upset, if you're angry or sad, stay offline. Because if you go online and you're in that state of mind, bad things will happen. We don't have great control over our consciousness when we're very upset about something. And that's when we end up accidentally saying things that are completely off character for us, that really are not us. I truly do not believe that when we are upset, we are more honestly ourselves. I think it's almost like a different person comes out and we're on autopilot the entire time. So I tend to wait and see what happens in like the coming week or so. If it goes over a week, I mean, that person's just hiding from the problem, and that's very problematic. I mean, whether it was an accident or not, you should apologize within a week of the controversy. Otherwise, what are people supposed to think other than you must not really care? And that brings us to Kat Von D. A lot of people boycotted her brand when she went on her Instagram, and she mentioned the fact that she was going to raise her baby to be vegan and that she was not going to vaccinate her child. I can understand why people got upset about the vaccination thing, but her retort to that, she did not apologize for that controversy at all. In fact, she kind of blamed it on her fans instead by saying that they just didn't pay attention to the wording of her statement and that she didn't actually say she wasn't going to vaccinate her child, that in reality she just said she was weighing her options. That's actually not true at all. I very carefully read that post on her Instagram even before anyone was making videos of it. Like, as soon as it dropped, I very carefully read it. I am a writer. I read things carefully and I try to see it from every possible angle. And there was no getting around the fact that she said she wasn't going to. But that's not the only thing that bothered me in that post. It wasn't just that she said she wasn't going to vaccinate her baby, which, as everyone knows, can be very dangerous for other children. It was the way she chose to word it. Literally no one online, at least that I had seen on her Instagram, on her YouTube, anywhere, had said anything negative about her pregnancy, apart from the occasional troll, and everyone knows just ignore the trolls. They're just trying to get under your skin. But no one had specified anything. No one was actually trying to give unsolicited advice to her. No one was trying to tell her how to raise her kid. But in her post on Instagram, she immediately just jumped down everyone's throats. She essentially, by making this post the way she did, attacked every single fan she had and pretty much accused them of trying to tell her how to raise her child. But no one had done that. This is a problem Kat Von D has had in the past as well. It's not like this is the first time this has happened. It's very much in her nature to cause controversy and to start her own problems. Very rarely does somebody else in her life start a fight. It's pretty much always her. She's kind of just one of those people that lives for drama for some reason, but then gets very upset when she's part of it. I mean, even think back to Miami Ink., LA Ink., when she was mainly known for her tattoos and not so much for her makeup brand because it didn't exist yet. She was constantly starting fights with the guys on Miami Ink. because they didn't want to go out and get drunk and party and then be too hungover for work the next day. Then when she got to LA Ink., she did this whole thing about how she'd grown up so much and she felt so bad about how she'd behaved when she was on Miami Ink., and that's not really like representative of who she is as a person now. And I was like, okay, good. She's growing and learning from her mistakes. You know, sometimes when we're young, we do stupid things, but she's getting there. Good. That's progress. But then she would just start things with her employees. Like, she was in charge there. She was the boss. When you're the boss, if someone has a complaint or someone isn't pulling their weight, you need to be professional about it. Even if you're on friendly terms with that person, you need to pull them aside privately and ask them questions. Don't accuse your employees of anything. You have to ask them questions that allow them to explain themselves to you. Then you can determine whether or not they deserve their job still. But she didn't do that. She would call her employees out in front of the entire staff, in front of the cameras, make a whole to-do about it. She would immediately make accusatory statements. She needs to choose her words more carefully than she does. Everything she said would be very accusatory in nature. It would be like, you did this and this is why, and I know you better than you know yourself. You can't talk to people like that because it makes them shut down. And now she's done it to her fans. It poured over from her coworkers to her employees and now to her fans, where she accused everybody of trying to give her unsolicited advice about how to raise her child when nobody had yet. If someone in her family or in her personal life had, I understand that, but she should have been less vague and more direct. She should have worded it more like, I don't appreciate certain family friends giving me unsolicited advice about how to raise my child. Not making a vague post about it, making everybody feel horrible about themselves. And then she gets all upset that everyone is coming at her under her post. She got all upset and butthurt about the fact that pretty much every single person who buys her makeup was like, I'm boycotting you. I'm no longer going to support Kat Von D Cosmetics because I don't agree with what you stand for. And what was her next post? Oh, everyone's just upset because they didn't really pay attention to what I wrote. No, that's not what it was. It's the fact that you said something controversial in a way that accused everyone of something that wasn't true. You cannot talk to people like that. She is way too old to be doing things like that. And it's like, the controversy's never ending. I mean, if you really look back at her past, every single controversy and piece of drama she's been involved in is entirely because she accused somebody of something bad without asking them what happened first. Jeffree Star was the same way. I love Jeffree Star. I'm not going to claim he's perfect, though. He's made his fair share of big mistakes in the past as well. Nobody is perfect. But he is trying to learn and grow from those mistakes. Yes, he does get himself caught up in drama still quite a lot because he doesn't always know when to not go on Twitter. But as far as like the racism issue, he's grown so much from those days where he would scream the N-word at people on the streets. Kat Von D, though, I mean, look at how she handled the issue with whether or not Jeffree Star had paid his artist for creating his logo. Instead of ringing it up and going, "Hey, best friend, I heard from somebody that you may or may not have paid so-and-so to help create your logo. Is that true? Because, I mean, we've known each other for a really long time, and I don't really want to assume something bad about you that might not be true." Instead of handling it like an adult like that, she chose to go on YouTube, on a platform where millions of people across the world were going to see her and hang on her every word if they love her that much. And she accused him of not paying this artist without even asking him or the artist what happened. And what came of that? Their friendship died. They're always at each other's throats now because Jeffree felt really hurt by that, and who wouldn't? She couldn't admit she was wrong because she can pretty much never admit she's wrong. I mean, when have you seen Kat Von D apologize for something she's caused? Pretty much never. And after the Instagram baby controversy, she's just coming into more and more now. It went from that to the cotton field picture. Yes, I realize Kat Von D did not take the picture of that shade of concealer, I believe, in the cotton field, but she should have, especially for someone who doesn't like racist people, she should have been a lot more careful about how she worded her caption underneath it, because not only did she make herself look like a fool, she also made the original poster of that photo look like a fool. And then after that, the fetish palette issues arose. I'm sorry, but I am one of those people who believes that she named some of her shades in her palette after Jeffree Star shades on purpose because lately she's been coming for him. Under the video of her wedding, she wrote the "Jeffree who" quote and thought it was like so hilarious. Again, this is like 16-year-old behavior. You don't have to love your ex-friends, but you don't need to shit on them either. There's just no reason for that. And I thought that was really immature. She should have just bypassed that person's comment completely and ignored it, not behaved that way. And it's just funny that right after that, and right after she finally took the Jeffree liquid lipstick off of her website, this is when she decides to make these fetish palettes. And I understand there's only so many terms you can use in a dominatrix type inspired palette, but she should have steered away from the ones that are named after Jeffree Star's most popular shades. She knew exactly what she was doing. I have no doubt in my mind that even if she doesn't watch his videos and she doesn't pay attention to his social media, she, as a businesswoman, knows full well what his products are called. I think based on her track record, she knows from, either her own research or other people telling her that lately Jeffree is in a very sensitive place in his life and he's popping off a lot more easily than usual, and it's going to be easy for her to get to him, so she's taking her shot. Now, the other thing with the fetish palettes, everyone is saying that pretty much everything Kat Von D has ever put out as a makeup brand has been near perfection, but apparently the fetish highlighters and eyeshadows are really poor quality. I've seen multiple reviews now where people say they're very chalky, that they're really hard to blend, that they're essentially like getting dollar store products, and I was shocked by that because I've never heard a Kat Von D product get reviews this negative before, and that leads me to believe that one of two things is happening. Either the fans are just upset and giving it more negative reviews than usual because they don't like the way she's been behaving lately and they don't want her to succeed anymore, which is, I'm sure, what she believes. Or, this is my other opinion that's probably closer to the truth, she's not trying as hard anymore. She's probably not spending as much time in the lab creating her makeup. She's probably not putting as much heart and soul into it because, one, she seems to be more interested in her music career now, and two, she does tend to get a chip on her shoulder when she's under fire for something, and she's been under fire pretty much nonstop for a few consecutive months now. So I think she's in a huff. I think that's why these palettes are such poor quality. I think she's in a huff right now because she's angry that people are upset with her. So she's like, well, if they're not going to buy my stuff anyway, then I'm just not going to try, and they can just have a shitty product and I don't care what they think. I mean, let's face it, doesn't that kind of sound close to something that she would do? So we've got a woman who is regularly under fire for doing things that, frankly, someone her age should not be doing anymore, that are very inappropriate, very immature, and very mean-spirited and nasty. We've got a woman who accuses her fans of things on her Instagram page, and I realize that may have been her personal Instagram, but when you name a brand after yourself and you create everything in a brand, that brand is you. That brand is you, and you are the brand. You need to be careful. And we have a woman who is no longer putting effort into her products because she just doesn't seem to care anymore. So, should Kat Von D be boycotted, and am I going to boycott her products? Honestly, I think that's up to each individual person. Like I said, it's always good to weigh the positives and the negatives. If her brand is the only one that works for you, certainly don't deny yourself that brand. And her old products are still amazing and fantastic, and there's no issue with them at all. If you want to get her older products that are not in the fetish line, that are good products, by all means, go ahead and get those products and enjoy them. Have fun. And if you just think that controversy is just too much for you and you can't handle anymore and you think that she doesn't deserve your business, by all means boycott her. Maybe Kat Von D is one of those people that just shot to fame too quickly, too young, and she needs this. Maybe she needs a lot of people to boycott her and leave her social media. Maybe she needs to suffer a little bit to learn the weight of her actions, and that her actions do have consequences, and she needs to be more careful about how she treats people. Maybe she could truly benefit from something like that. As for myself, at the minute I am in search of products that are at the same level as her foundations and her concealers that work really well on me that aren't hers. So I kind of am boycotting her in a sense, but if I can't find anything that good, I will stick with it. However, I do not want to give her my business because, as I just mentioned, I'm hoping that maybe if she gets a little bit scared by a lot of people leaving, she'll learn something, she will try to grow and become a better person and a better face to her brand, and she'll work harder at developing better formulas in the future. And then I'll go back to her, and I'm sure a lot of other people will too. And if I do need a product of hers, I'm going to go to Poshmark for it and get it secondhand. In conclusion, I doubt Kat Von D will ever see this video, but all I want to say to her is just apologize. I know that you don't like Jeffree Star anymore and you don't want to think about him or be part of his life, but he did the right thing. He made an apology video for everything he did in his past, multiple apology videos now for everything he's done in his past that hurt people, and he truly meant it, came from his heart. That's all people ever want. All people want is an apology when you hurt them, and you have hurt your fans very badly. You can't treat them like that, but going forward in your life, you can fix it. Come on camera, apologize honestly, be specific about what you're apologizing for, apologize for everything you've made a mistake on in your life, and then just move on. That's all you have to do. As always, do something that makes you happy today, no matter what anyone else thinks about it. I'm very sorry about the quality of this video. This sunlight is crazy today. I'll see you all soon.